There is no distance between you and wealth except the illusion of time and disbelief. The moment you remove both, manifestation becomes immediate. This is not wishful thinking, this is spiritual law. And when you truly understand it, wealth can appear in your world in just 2 days or less. You do not need to become wealthy, you already are. Your only task is to remove the layers of identity that keep you from seeing this truth. Think of it this way. You are standing in a room full of treasure, but the lights are off. The wealth is not far, it is just unseen. The moment you flick the switch of assumption, the riches become visible. 2 days is not too short. For the unseen, 2 days is eternity. The moment you saturate your mind with the feeling of already being wealthy, already having more than enough, your world begins to mold itself around that belief. How do you do it? Withdraw your attention from what is and place it entirely on what you have declared to be yours. You must refuse to entertain lack even for a moment. You must walk, speak, breathe, and think as though your reality has shifted. Because it has. It simply hasn't caught up to your senses yet. And what are your senses, if not the echo of an old belief? Ignore them. Do not wait for confirmation. Be the confirmation. Assume the tone of wealth. Feel the softness of abundance. Smile at the balance that you cannot yet see, but know is already on its way. The outer follows the inner without fail. The only thing that delays it is your tendency to peak, to doubt, to question the how. But the how is not your concern. The state is, the feeling is, the imagination is. For 2 days, become obsessed, not with money, but with the version of you who no longer craves it, the one who has it, the one who gives generously, thinks limitlessly, and sleeps peacefully. If you can dwell in that identity for 48 hours without stepping out of it, you will witness what others call miracles. The world will mirror your new conviction. Opportunities will emerge, messages will arrive, solutions will unfold. You will not need to chase, you will attract. You will not strive, you will allow. Your work is not to push, but to believe. Your tool is not effort, but awareness. In just 2 days of radical inner conviction, you can collapse time. You can bend the rules. You can rewrite your financial destiny. Why? Because you are the author. Always have been. You do not need to chase wealth. Earn it in the way the world tells you, or struggle to force it into your life. The truth is far simpler and far more powerful. Wealth is not something created from the outside. It is something revealed from within. You are not becoming rich. You are waking up to the fact that you already are. There exists within you a version of yourself who lacks nothing, a self who lives abundantly, thinks limitlessly, and walks through life with complete ease and financial freedom. That self is not a fantasy. It is a reality in the unseen, a spiritual reality waiting for your recognition. The only reason you do not see the wealth in your current experience is because you have not yet fully identified with the version of yourself who already has it. The world teaches you to earn, to hustle, to work hard for years to receive scraps of abundance, but spiritual law reveals another path. Assume the state and the state will express itself. Everything begins within. You do not manifest wealth by striving, but by becoming. You become it internally first, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Then the outer world simply reveals what you've already accepted as true. When you finally understand that wealth is a state of consciousness, you stop trying to make things happen. You stop begging reality to change. Instead, you shift your identity, you align your thoughts, your feelings, and your assumptions with the version of yourself who is already wealthy. You begin to think how they would think. You feel how they would feel. You respond to life with the confidence and calm of someone who knows there is always more than enough. Respond to life by the connections and confidence of those who, many of them, hope they would always be enough. In that moment, everything changes. The veil of lack lifts, and you begin to perceive new pathways, new people, new opportunities that were always there, but hidden from your view, while you lived in the consciousness of limitation. It is not that these things suddenly appeared. They were revealed, uncovered by the light of your new awareness. Wealth then is not a reward. It is a reflection. It is not something given, it is something realized. The riches you desire are already part of your divine inheritance, coded into your spiritual DNA. But they can only become visible when you claim them in consciousness. You don't get wealthy by doing more. You get wealthy by knowing more, by knowing the truth of who you really are. When you remember your power, when you live from the end, when you no longer negotiate with doubt or delay, the outer world must obey your inner command. All transformation is a return. You are not chasing a life that is far away. You are waking up to the life that's been yours all along. You are not manifesting from emptiness, but from fullness, from the infinite reservoir of supply that lives within. Wealth is not far, it is not distant, it is simply dormant. The moment you stop striving and start remembering, the revelation begins. And in that sacred revelation, everything you've ever desired comes rushing forward, not as a surprise, but as a confirmation of what you finally dared to believe. Time, as you understand it, is only relevant to the senses. It exists to give structure to a physical world that is governed by seasons, cycles, and clocks. But in the unseen, the true reality, time holds no authority. What you call a process, the infinite knows as a moment. What you call too soon, the unseen recognizes as now. There is no delay in the spiritual realm, only your assumption of delay. When you understand this, you stop asking how long it will take. You stop calculating hours, days, and weeks, and begin asking a more powerful question. How deeply am I willing to assume that it is already done? Because it is not time that delivers the result. It is your inner state. You could live in the wish unfulfilled for years, or you could enter the feeling of fulfillment for 2 days and change everything. There is no difference between 2 days and 2 years, except your belief about what's possible. The infinite does not need time to rearrange the elements of your world. It does not work according to logic or effort. It works through alignment. Once you are aligned with the state of the wish fulfilled, completely, unquestionably, and emotionally, time bends, compresses, even disappears. 2 days is not too soon for the infinite. In fact, it may be all that is required if your assumption is pure, sustained, and unwavering. But here lies the challenge. Can you hold the state? Can you dwell for 48 hours in the knowing that it is already yours, without contradicting it by checking, doubting, or wishing? Can you resist the urge to peek, to question, to ask if it's working? This is not about performance. It is about persistence. Not outer persistence, but inner stillness. A settled heart. An unwavering imagination. A spirit that refuses to move from the end. If you can live as if it has already happened, if you can walk, speak, and feel from that place, then the law must respond. It has no choice. It mirrors your assumption. The outer world always takes the shape of your dominant inner state. So if for just 2 days you choose to embody wealth, to dwell in abundance, to trust that everything is unfolding now, not later, not someday, but now, you will find that circumstances shift without warning. Unexpected money arrives, old doors open, new paths form, not because you made it happen, but because you finally stopped blocking what was already yours. Time becomes irrelevant when you operate from the end. You are no longer waiting, you are welcoming. You are not hoping, you are knowing. You are not asking, you are claiming. Understand this truth deeply. The infinite is not slow, it is precise. It does not delay, it delivers exactly when your assumption is complete. 2 days of total belief can do more than 2 decades of effort. So if you desire rapid change, the key is not urgency, but surrender. Not rushing, but resting. In the fulfilled feeling of your desire, the clock does not run your life, your consciousness does. So step into the end, hold it for 2 days without interruption, and watch how fast the world begins to obey. To live in the end means to dwell in the result, to reside in the consciousness of your fulfilled desire, without waiting for external proof. It is the secret known only to those who create reality rather than react to it. When you live in the end of the wealthy version of yourself, you are not trying to become rich. You are already rich in your imagination, in your emotions, in your identity, and the world must conform to that assumption. This is not a mental game or wishful daydreaming, it is a radical shift in consciousness. You no longer think about what it would be like to have wealth, you think from it. You no longer hope for a better life, you begin to embody the one who already lives that life. You speak as they would speak, move as they would move, rest as they would rest. You don't pursue it, you possess it in your inner world. Why is this so powerful? Because your world is not responding to your wishes. It is responding to your state. Every moment you are occupying a state of being, and that state is what the universe mirrors back to you. If you live in lack, even while dreaming of abundance, the result you will experience is still lack. But if you inhabit abundance inwardly, if you feel from the place of already having it, then abundance becomes inevitable. This is why you must feel from the result, not toward it. To feel toward it is to reinforce the absence. It is to say, it's not here yet, but I hope it comes. That posture delays the very thing you desire. But to feel from the result is to say, it is done. I am it. I have it. And that posture is irresistible to the creative power of the universe. It must reflect that back to you. Ask yourself, how would I feel if money were no longer an issue? What thoughts would I think if I already had everything paid off? If I already lived in my dream home? If my accounts were overflowing? Let those thoughts dominate your inner dialogue. Let those feelings be the atmosphere of your being. You are not imagining for fun, you are imagining to rewire your reality. Living in the end is the act of becoming before seeing. It is faith in motion, it is trust without evidence, and it is the fastest way to change your outer world. The moment you make the inner shift and truly claim the state of being wealthy, you set into motion a series of events that will shock you with their precision. Resources appear, people align, circumstances shift, and it's not because you worked harder, but because you finally believed. Don't wait for money to feel secure. Feel secure now. Don't wait for success to feel confident. Embody that confidence today. Don't wait for validation. Validate yourself with the awareness of who you already are in the unseen. You are not manifesting wealth, you are remembering it. You are awakening to the version of you who always had it. And the moment you live in the end, without contradiction, without stepping back into the old story, the world will rise up to meet your new identity. Imagination is the womb of reality. Everything you see, touch, and experience in your outer world was first born in the invisible realm of thought and feeling. But it is not enough to simply imagine. Many people imagine wealth, success, and freedom, yet see no change in their lives. Why? Because their imagination is not fused with certainty. It is poisoned by doubt, and doubt delays. You cannot hold two opposing beliefs and expect manifestation to be swift. The power of imagination is activated through conviction, not curiosity. To imagine a thing and then question its arrival is to plant a seed and immediately dig it up, wondering if it's growing. Imagination must be steady. It must be occupied by certainty, by the unwavering assumption that what you see within is more real than what you see without. Understand this: the outer world is simply the reflection of your inner state. It is not the cause, but the effect. When your imagination is filled with pictures of abundance, but your heart is filled with questions and hesitation, the signal becomes mixed. The universe responds not to your desire, but to your belief. If belief wavers, manifestation wavers. If certainty stands firm, reality bends to meet it. This is why the greatest creators live from the knowing that it is done. They do not wait for signs, they do not need reassurance. They create in the unseen and rest in that creation. Imagination is their blueprint, and faith is the foundation. Together they collapse time and bring forth results that defy logic. You must become still enough to hear the inner voice that says, "It is already yours." Then you must trust that voice more than the noise of the world. You must protect your inner vision from the interference of circumstance. Circumstances are not permanent. They are projections of old beliefs. Your task is not to analyze them, but to replace them with new ones born from certainty. So ask yourself, is your imagination directed by faith or hijacked by fear? Do you spend more time visualizing success or worrying about failure? Because both are acts of imagination. One creates and the other destroys. You cannot afford to doubt, not if you want speed, not if you want results that seem supernatural. When your imagination becomes occupied by certainty, your energy shifts. You begin to think, speak, and act in alignment with the version of you who already has what they desire. And because the world is a mirror, it reflects that confidence right back to you in the form of resources, relationships, and opportunities. Faith is not passivity. It is an active choice to persist in your vision, no matter what appears to be. It is the bold declaration, "What I have imagined is more real to me than what I see." And that kind of imagination, rooted in certainty, moves mountains. So hold your image, protect it, nourish it with conviction. Walk through the day with the quiet inner knowing that all you've seen within is already forming without. For the one who imagines with faith, manifestation is not a matter of if, but when. And often that when comes faster than the world says is possible. The greatest secret to manifesting wealth is not found in endless action, hustle, or external effort. It lies in something far quieter, more internal, yet infinitely more powerful: assumption. You are not here to fight for abundance. You are here to assume the identity of the one who already lives it, and allow the outer world to mirror that identity back to you. The power is never in the action. The power is always in the state you occupy while taking it. Assumption is the silent force that governs manifestation. It is the quiet inner stance that says, "I already am, I already have, I already live it." When you move through life with that consciousness, life cannot help but yield to you. You are no longer trying to become, you are. And that difference changes everything. Too many people live in the illusion that they must earn their way into wealth as though money were a reward for effort. But the truth is, effort without alignment leads to frustration. You can work night and day, take all the courses, try all the strategies, and still remain stuck if your assumption contradicts your desire. The world is not responding to what you want. It is responding to what you believe yourself to already be. If you assume wealth, your words change, your posture changes, your energy becomes still and confident. You begin to walk through life with the ease of someone who is not trying to prove anything. There is no begging in your spirit, no desperation in your tone. You radiate ownership. And that energy draws in opportunities, people, and ideas that match it. Assumption is not about pretending, it is about embodying. You are not faking it, you are awakening to it. You are remembering that what you seek is already yours in the unseen, and your assumption is the bridge that brings it into form. The moment you take possession of that identity, life must follow. This is why assumption is more powerful than action. Actions can lie. You can do all the right things from a place of fear, insecurity, or lack and receive nothing. But assumption cannot lie. It is the root, the vibration, the blueprint. When assumption is pure, the actions that flow from it are effortless and inspired. They are not born of struggle but of knowing. You do not move to get results, you move because results are inevitable. So let go of the need to grind your way into abundance. Stop measuring your progress by how hard you're working. Begin instead to measure by how deeply you've assumed the truth of who you are. Begin each day not by asking, "What must I do?" but by declaring, "This is who I am." The wealthy version of you is not someone far off in the distance. It is already alive within you. The moment you stop trying to reach it and instead assume it as your reality, everything changes. Life bends, money flows, doors open, not because you chased them, but because you became the one who attracts them. Assumption is your true power. Use it. Let the world conform. Let results come to you, not as a surprise, but as a reflection of what you've dared to believe. You have been told that success takes years, that wealth comes only to those who hustle endlessly, grind tirelessly, and sacrifice everything. But that is only true for those who believe it. In truth, your outer world does not respond to effort alone. It responds to inner conviction, the invisible knowing, the spiritual certainty that what you desire is already yours. And if you can hold that conviction purely, unwaveringly, for just 48 hours, 2 full days, the physical realm will begin to shape itself around your belief. This is not about doing more. It is about being more. Being more rooted, more certain, more aligned. It is about stepping into a reality within and refusing to step out of it. You are not chasing wealth. You are not begging for it. You are declaring it done and choosing to remain in the atmosphere of that decision, regardless of what the senses say. 2 days of total assumption can undo years of fear-based striving. Because the spiritual law is not activated by time, but by truth. The moment your belief becomes unshakable, the bridge of incidents begins to form. Not because you earned it through labor, but because you commanded it through alignment. Ask yourself, can I hold the vision for just 2 days? Can I silence the inner noise, ignore appearances, and dwell entirely in the consciousness of the wealthy version of myself? Not visiting it from time to time, but living there, breathing there, speaking from there. This kind of persistence is rare not because it's difficult, but because most people are addicted to checking their current reality. They plant the seed of desire, but dig it up with doubt. They declare abundance, but contradict it with worry an hour later. They say, "I am wealthy," and then spend the rest of the day wondering how the money will come. But if, for 48 hours, you can live in the end without interruption, you will witness power that most never touch. You will become magnetic. People, ideas, and opportunities will begin to show up without effort. The world will appear to bend in your favor because it must. It cannot disobey the one who has assumed the state completely. This is not about forcing results. It's about surrendering to what is already done. You do not demand manifestation, you align with it. An alignment is immediate when belief is pure. You could wait 10 years for something, and it may never come. Or you could spend 2 days in total conviction and watch it unfold before you. Do not underestimate what happens when you stop wobbling between states, when you stop hoping and start knowing, when you move from wishing to being. That shift is everything, and it is the key to accelerated manifestation. So test it. For 2 days, refuse to leave the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Wake up in it. Walk in it. Speak from it. Fall asleep in it. And no matter what comes, no matter how ordinary things may look, hold your ground. Because if you do, the physical realm will obey. It has no choice but to reflect the one who dares to believe that it is already so. Wealth is not something you chase. It is something you reveal by aligning with the version of you who already possesses it. In just 2 days, if you can persist in the state of inner knowing without allowing doubt to disrupt your assumption, life will begin to shift in ways that appear miraculous. You are not dependent on time, effort, or chance. You are only dependent on your state of being. Assume the wealth. Live in the end. Let your imagination be filled with certainty, and trust that the unseen moves faster than anything you could accomplish through hustle alone. 2 days of unwavering belief is enough to open the floodgates of abundance. Not because of what you do, but because of who you decide to be. So stay there. Dwell there. For just 48 hours, claim your wealth, not as a hope, but as a fact. The moment you stop reaching for it and start being it, the physical world will respond. It always does. Sincerely, thank you for listening. May these words take root, awaken your awareness, and usher in the wealth that has always belonged to you. There is a blessing already in motion toward you, not because you begged for it, not because you earned it in the way the world defines worthiness, but because you became the version of you that is ready to receive it. It may appear sudden, you may call it unexpected, but nothing that shows up in your life comes without a spiritual cause. The seen is only the echo of the unseen. The truth is, you've already imagined this blessing before you even knew what to call it. You may not remember the exact moment. Maybe it was a longing in the middle of the night, or a silent conversation with yourself while walking alone. That was the planting, and now the fruit is on its way. This blessing is not coming to the version of you who is worried, doubtful, or looking around for evidence. It is arriving for the you who is still, who is certain, who no longer needs the blessing to believe, because belief itself has become your nature. The only delay in blessings is the time it takes for you to stop doubting that they already exist. Every time you assume the worst, you block what's already yours. Every time you dwell in lack, you lock the door. But when you dwell in peace, you don't just open the door, you invite the blessing in and prepare a place for it. You must not ask when it will happen. That is the language of one who believes they are separate from the blessing. Instead, speak from the end. It is already mine. Not, I hope it comes, but I receive it now, live from the feeling of it already being yours. Speak as if your life has already changed. Walk as if it has already happened. And watch how reality rushes to meet the version of you who dares to believe without seeing this blessing. The one you didn't expect has always been on its way, but now you are finally standing in the space to receive it. Not because you changed the world, but because you changed your posture. You let go of need, you rested in knowing. And so the blessing had no choice but to come. Prepare yourself. Stay still. Assume the feeling of already having it, because it's closer than you think, because it's yours, and because a blessing you didn't expect is about to arrive. What you do not yet see with your physical eyes is already moving toward you. The outer world is slow to reflect what the inner world has already completed. Just because something isn't visible does not mean it's not real. In fact, the most powerful forces shaping your life are invisible. Your assumptions, your imaginal acts, your inner conversations, and your dominant states of being. Reality is not built from the outside in, it is built from the inside out. Everything you see now was once a thought, once an unseen idea. The clothes you wear, the device you're using, the home you live in, none of these existed in the outer world until someone saw them clearly in their inner world. You are no different. The blessing you are waiting for is not created when it appears. It was created the moment you imagined it, the moment you accepted it as real within. We are taught to trust what we can touch, what we can measure, what we can prove to others. But that's not where truth lives. Truth lives in consciousness. And what you hold to be true within yourself will press itself into the fabric of this world. You must stop searching for signs and start recognizing that you are the sign. You are the evidence that it's already done, if only you remain faithful to the unseen. This is the secret. The unseen is not empty. It is not imaginary in the sense of being false. It is imaginal in the sense of being creative. Your imagination is not a daydream. It is the original cause. The feeling you hold in quiet moments, the inner certainty that needs no permission from the world. This is the force that bends circumstances in your favor. You must learn to live with your eyes closed and your awareness open. Do not be discouraged by appearances. They are old. They are simply the residue of past beliefs. What matters now is what you dare to accept as true in this very moment. If you can believe without needing proof, the proof must eventually appear. This is not magic, and it is not luck. It is law. The inner precedes the outer, always. So the moment you claim it inwardly, the outer world begins to reorganize itself to reflect that inner claim. But there is often a gap, the time between the imaginal act and the physical manifestation. That is where most lose faith. They believe nothing is happening, but everything is happening. Just because you do not see the seed growing underground does not mean the tree isn't on its way. Remain loyal to the vision that lives within you. Do not measure progress with your eyes, measure it with your feeling. If you feel it real, it must become real. The blueprint is already laid. Trust the process and let the invisible take form, because the unseen is more real than the seen. Though the blessing may seem like a sudden surprise, it is not an accident. It is not random. It is the fruit of an unseen preparation that you may not even remember making. Life answers you not only through your conscious words, but through your inner states. And you have been preparing for this blessing far longer than you realize. Every silent hope, every tear you wiped away in solitude, every time you chose to believe even when you had no reason, those were the seeds. You may not have seen the work being done, but that does not mean the work wasn't happening. The inner world works quietly. There are moments you prayed without words. You envisioned peace when everything around you was chaos. You imagined joy while pain pressed on your heart. You didn't know it, but those invisible acts of faith were laying the foundation for what now appears to be an unexpected blessing. The world may say it came out of nowhere. It didn't. It came out of your alignment. It came from your decision to shift from worry to stillness, from need to knowing. And the moment you moved internally, even if just once, with sincerity, something was activated. A timeline shifted. A new path was drawn toward you. The mind often asks, How could this happen now? But the deeper truth is, how could it not happen after everything within you aligned to receive it? You see, the delay wasn't in the blessing. The delay was in your readiness to live from the end, to believe without needing evidence, to rest in the assumption of the thing already done. The moment that happened, the blessing began to take shape. That's why it feels unexpected, not because you weren't worthy, but because you weren't watching for it. You had let go, maybe even forgotten. But that's when the universe works best, when you're no longer trying to control the process, when you're no longer anxiously checking the outcome. You became the version of yourself who no longer needed the blessing to feel complete. And that's when it came. So don't be fooled by the surprise. This is not luck. This is the result of your inner decision to choose the higher path, to silently persist in faith when no one else saw you doing it. The world only sees the event, but you lived the becoming. Now that it arrives, you will know why it fits so perfectly. You didn't chase it. You didn't force it. But deep down, you always knew something greater was waiting. That knowing is what called it forward. You didn't expect it, but you were not unprepared. Your inner world was ready long before the outer caught up. The blessing simply followed the path your spirit had already walked. Every quiet yearning, every inner whisper, every tear you refused to let fall, none of it was ignored. You may have felt forgotten at times. You may have assumed your prayers went unanswered or your thoughts fell into silence. But there is no such thing as an unregistered desire. The universe does not overlook the language of the soul. It listens not just to words, but to feelings, to the soft trembling of the heart, the moments when you almost gave up but didn't, the silent declarations you made in the stillness of your being. You are always being heard. Even the desires you no longer speak aloud, the ones you pushed deep into your chest because life told you they were too much, they were never erased. They were planted. And just like seeds in the ground, they work in a realm hidden from your eyes. You may not see them yet, but that doesn't mean they're not unfolding. There is an intelligence moving through your life that responds to vibration, not volume. It hears your energy more clearly than your voice. This is why what you feel consistently carries more weight than what you occasionally say. You may have never put it into words, but the ache in your chest was an instruction. The longing in your gaze was a request. The hope you dare to feel even in the middle of darkness, that was your command. You are not being ignored. You are being aligned. The delay you interpret as silence is often protection or preparation. The universe does not deliver by emotion. It delivers by embodiment. It waits until you become the version of yourself who can live inside the reality you once only asked for. That's not punishment. That's mercy. That's precision. And that's love. Your buried emotions, even the ones you were ashamed of, were not lost. They were transmuted. The pain you tried to silence became a bridge. The grief you carried became a gateway. Your hidden feelings built something stronger than words. A blueprint for what your soul truly needed, not just what your mind thought it wanted. So when you receive what you once forgot you asked for, don't be shocked. Be still. Be grateful. Because this is evidence that you have always been seen, always been felt, always been heard. Not just by the world, but by the deeper fabric of creation that knows who you are beyond your appearance. Even now, your sighs are sacred. Your unspoken thoughts are forming shapes. Life is responding. Not someday, not if you try harder, but now, in this moment, in every moment. You are not waiting to be heard, you are heard. And everything you ever whispered is already on its way home to you. The moment you stop searching outwardly, striving anxiously, and looking for confirmation from the world, something powerful shifts. You step out of the energy of lack and into the vibration of already having. That is when the blessing begins to move. Not because you worked harder or begged louder, but because you finally aligned with the version of yourself who knows it is already done. When you are constantly looking, you are unconsciously affirming that it's missing. You may be praying, visualizing, hoping, but beneath it all is a silent belief that says, I don't have it yet. That belief becomes the very wall that blocks the manifestation. The universe does not give you what you want, it reflects who you are being. And when you are being someone who is always waiting, you are met with more waiting. But when you stop looking and start knowing, you flip the switch. You rest in the assumption that it has already happened, and you begin to act and feel from that truth. That state of knowing is not passive, it is powerful. It is the inner command that shapes the outer reality. You are not convincing yourself with words, you are becoming the truth with feeling. You are no longer asking when will it come. Instead, you are declaring within, it is here, I am living it now. This is not delusion, it is creation. This is how every change begins. The outer world may not show it yet, but that doesn't matter. The outer is always behind the inner. When you know something inwardly, when you move as if it's already yours, the outer world must catch up. It has no choice. You are not meant to live by sight alone. You are meant to live by conviction. Conviction does not wait for evidence. It creates the evidence. And when you start living from knowing instead of needing, your life begins to take on a new shape. One that matches your highest assumptions. Let others look. Let them wait and wonder. But you are the one who decides now. You are the one who closes your eyes and sees clearly. You are the one who walks in faith, not because you're hoping something will happen, but because you know it already has. This is the key to movement. Not action born of desperation, but stillness born of certainty. The more you embody the outcome, the more the path reveals itself. You are not here to chase. You are here to choose. So choose now. Not with effort, but with identity. Stop scanning the world for signs. Stop checking the clock. The moment you stop looking and begin knowing, the blessing begins to move toward you. Or more accurately, you begin to move into the timeline where it already exists. Because what you assume to be true becomes. Your current state of being is not just a mood. It is not simply a passing feeling or an emotional phase. It is a magnetic force. It draws, attracts, and organizes your reality around it. What you feel yourself to be right now, not what you say, not what you wish, but what you feel yourself to be in the deepest part of your being, becomes the mold through which your life flows. The reason the unexpected blessing shows up is not because it randomly found you. It came because at some level your identity made space for it. Your inner world declared it without speaking. The shift in how you see yourself, how you carry yourself, how you rest in yourself, creates a field around you, a magnetic pull that draws into your experience everything that matches your assumed state. If you see yourself as worthy, love-chosen, and full, life will mirror that. If you walk in the state of lack, desperation, or unworthiness, the outer world reflects that too. You may try to say the right affirmations, take the right steps, or perform all the rituals, but if your being contradicts your doing, your results will always reflect your inner posture, not your outer performance. This is why the inner transformation always precedes the outer manifestation. The identity shift is the true miracle. Once you become the person who has already received, the receiving becomes inevitable, not because you demanded it, but because you are now in harmony with it. Nothing can enter your experience unless it first finds a home within your identity. You cannot hold what you have not first accepted as possible for you. The gate is not outside, it is within. And that gate opens the moment you decide to feel, think, and act from the end. From the reality where the blessing is already part of your life. The mistake most people make is trying to attract something while remaining unchanged. But the law is clear: you do not get what you want, you get what you are. If you want the unexpected blessing, you must become the version of yourself for whom such blessings are natural. You must embody the feeling of already having, already being, already living in that truth. When you do this sincerely, not to manipulate, but to merge with the version of you that already exists on a higher plane, life rearranges itself. The people, the situations, the opportunities, and the breakthroughs begin to appear, not by force, but by resonance. Your state of being is the invitation. It is the frequency on which your blessings travel. You are not here to chase, to strive, or to beg. You are here to align, to feel it real, to live it inwardly, and to let that inner conviction become the magnet that pulls all things toward you. The blessing is not attracted by what you want. It is drawn by who you are being. And you can choose to be that now. The need to understand how it will happen is the very thing that slows the manifestation. The mind wants steps, logic, strategy, and timelines. It demands clarity and control. But the miracle does not respond to control, it responds to surrender. The more you try to figure it out, the more you delay its unfolding. Because when you are busy calculating the route, you are not living in the end, you are living in doubt. The spirit does not need to see the path, it only needs to know the destination is already reached. That knowing is rest. And rest is not inactivity, it is powerful alignment. It is the signal to the universe that you have accepted the blessing as done, even if there is no visible evidence yet. That rest is the birthplace of miracles. Not because you earned them, but because you stopped resisting them. You see, the mind wants to walk by sight. It wants to connect dots, to trace the cause and effect. But the realm of creation is not linear. It is energetic. It does not require that you understand the mechanics. It only requires that you become the embodiment of the outcome. When you do, reality reshapes itself to mirror the inner truth you hold. Trying to understand how is the voice of a self that does not yet believe, it is already done. And so it stays in waiting mode, in searching mode, in anxious mode. But the moment you shift into it is already mine, without proof, without signs. You activate the unseen forces that arrange everything on your behalf. Letting go of the how is not giving up, it is giving over. It is the sacred transfer of power from your limited self to your infinite self. It is the declaration, I don't need to know how, I only need to know that it is done. That state of being is magnetic. It draws the people, the timing, the conditions, and the opportunities that you could never have predicted. Most people sabotage the blessing because they are obsessed with managing the unfolding. They check constantly, they question every delay, they look for reassurance from the outer world, forgetting that the outer world is just a mirror. And when you look for the mirror to change before you do, you stay trapped in reflection, not creation. The miracle arrives the moment you no longer need to monitor its arrival. When you detach from how it will come, you make room for it to come in ways you couldn't have imagined. The universe is not limited by your plan, but it is limited by your doubt. So shift your energy from figuring it out to falling into it, from questioning to knowing, from hoping to resting. The work is already done on the invisible plane. Your task is not to build it, but to align with it. Release the need to understand, embrace the truth of completion, live from the end, and let the process surprise you. Because the moment you rest in the already, the miracle begins its way toward you. Kichu, the blessing you didn't expect is not random, and it's certainly not late. It is the natural outcome of an inner shift, a quiet decision you made to trust what cannot be seen, to believe without needing evidence, and to feel the truth of your desire before the world could show it to you. You are not waiting for miracles to find you. You are aligning with the version of yourself who naturally receives them. You've stopped looking and started knowing. You've let go of the how and stepped into the already. You've moved from wanting to being. And now reality has no choice but to reflect your state. Everything is happening exactly as it should, in perfect rhythm, in perfect timing. Your inner world has already made space. The gate is open. The blessing is not just coming, it's already here. Thank you for listening. May you remain in the stillness of knowing. May you walk with the calm certainty that what is yours cannot miss you. And most of all, may you receive the blessing in peace, in fullness, and in perfect time. Close your eyes. Let the world fade away. What if I told you that the secret to winning the lottery is not effort, not planning, not strategy, but silence? A silence so powerful that it commands reality itself. Right now, as you listen, wealth is already yours. There is no need to chase, to struggle, to seek. The more you try, the more it eludes you. But when you let go, when you simply accept that it is already done, reality bends to your will. Think of yourself as the winner, not tomorrow, not in some distant future, right now. How does it feel? Do not force it. Just allow it to rise naturally. The thrill of seeing your numbers match, the rush of knowing your life has changed forever, the deep, quiet certainty of financial freedom, this feeling, this is your winning ticket. Doubt may whisper, but how? Ignore it. The how is not your concern. The moment you accept wealth within, the world around you must rearrange to reflect it. Do not listen to those who tell you that luck is random, that wealth is earned through effort. You are not bound by statistics, nor by odds. You are bound only by your imagination. And right now, your imagination has already claimed your fortune. You do not need to lift a finger. Just listen, feel, know, and when you open your eyes, do not return to the old version of yourself. Walk as the winner you already are. The numbers, the ticket, the event, it is already aligned. And so it is. The world you experience is not separate from you. It is a mirror reflecting the state of your inner mind. Every event, every circumstance, every so-called chance occurrence is simply the unfolding of your dominant thoughts, beliefs, and feelings. What you call reality is not something outside of you, not something fixed and immovable, but a projection of what you have accepted as true within yourself. If you desire wealth, you must first recognize where wealth truly exists. It is not in the numbers, the economy, or the actions of others. It is not in luck or effort or in anything outside of you. Wealth begins as a state of mind. If within you you believe yourself to be struggling, lacking, or waiting for fortune to smile upon you, then the world must conform to that belief. It cannot do otherwise. The external world is but an echo, and it has no choice but to reflect back to you the state in which you most consistently dwell. To change your experience, you must not fight against what appears to be. You must not look at an empty bank account, a pile of unpaid bills, or the seeming impossibility of winning and declare them to be real. The moment you do that, you are affirming their permanence, locking yourself into a reality where scarcity rules. Instead, you must turn inward and claim the wealth that is already yours. Do not wait for the world to give you permission to feel rich. Do not wait for evidence before you believe. It is your belief that creates the evidence, not the other way around. This is the great misunderstanding of the world. People look at what is and say this is reality, and so they remain trapped within it. But those who understand the truth know that what is seen is only the residue of past thoughts. If you wish to create something new, you must think from that new state, not toward it. Close your eyes and step into the feeling of abundance, not as a distant wish, not as something you are trying to achieve, but as something that already is. How would it feel to wake up tomorrow and know, beyond any doubt, that you are financially free, that money flows to you in ways you could never have predicted, that wealth is your natural state? Do not force the feeling. Allow it to come naturally. See yourself living in the home you desire, spending freely, giving generously, feeling the security and ease that comes with knowing that wealth is always available to you. The mind may resist. It will say, but I don't see it yet. How can I believe in something that isn't here? Ignore these protests. The mind has been trained to rely on the senses. But the senses only report the past. They cannot show you what is coming, only what has already been created by previous states of mind. If you wish to change your experience, you must move beyond the evidence of the senses and accept the unseen as real. There is no need to struggle, no need to force anything into being. The moment you accept your wealth within, the world begins to shift. It may not be immediate, but it is certain. Opportunities will present themselves. People, places, and events will conspire to bring you into alignment with the wealth you have already claimed in consciousness. You will not need to chase, beg, or hope. What is yours will come to you naturally, effortlessly. The only thing that can delay this is doubt. If you plant a seed and then dig it up every day to check if it is growing, it will never take root. You must trust the process. You must live in the knowing that it is already done. When doubt creeps in, remind yourself, my reality is only a reflection of what I hold within. I am already wealthy. As you persist in this state, the world must conform. The lottery ticket, the unexpected windfall, the business opportunity, the chance encounter, these are merely channels through which your wealth may flow, but they are not the source. The source is within you, and it has already declared you rich. There is a profound difference between wanting something and having it. Most people remain stuck in a state of wanting, hoping, and wishing, never realizing that these states only perpetuate lack. When you desire something intensely, but continue to see it as separate from you, you are unknowingly affirming that you do not yet have it. And as long as you remain in that state, the thing you seek will remain out of reach. True manifestation is not about wishing, it is about feeling. It is about moving beyond the idea of one day and stepping fully into the experience of already having. If you truly had what you desired, how would you feel? That is the question that unlocks everything. Most people fail because they focus on external effort rather than internal transformation. They chase after opportunities, strategies, and techniques, never understanding that their outer world can only reflect what they have accepted as true within. To win the lottery or to receive any form of wealth, you must first assume the feeling of being wealthy, not as a vague hope, not as a distant possibility, but as an undeniable reality. Imagine that right now, this very moment, you have already won. Feel the exhilaration, the relief, the certainty. Imagine checking your ticket and seeing the winning numbers match. Imagine the surge of emotions, perhaps shock at first, then overwhelming joy, then deep, peaceful satisfaction. Imagine telling those you love. Imagine the way your life changes instantly. Imagine waking up each morning knowing that financial worries are a thing of the past. Your mind may resist this exercise. It may say, "But this isn't real. I haven't won yet." That doubt is the very thing keeping it from you. You must move beyond appearances and trust that the unseen is just as real, if not more real, than what your senses report. The world you experience is simply a delayed reflection of what you have already accepted in consciousness. If you wait for proof before believing, you will wait forever. But if you believe first, the proof must follow. The key is to feel as though it has already happened. Let go of the striving, the hoping, the longing. Those states only affirm that what you seek is missing. Instead, relax into the feeling of having. Breathe it in. Let it settle deep within you. Carry that feeling with you throughout the day. Walk as though you are already the person who has won. Speak with the confidence of one who knows their wealth is secure. Act as if your financial freedom is an unquestioned. Some may call this delusion, but it is not. It is the only true reality. What you hold in your consciousness will in time solidify into your experience. If you persist in feeling wealthy, wealth must appear. If you persist in feeling lack, lack must remain. The world has no choice but to mirror what you hold within. Doubt and fear will try to pull you back into the old mindset. They will whisper, "What if it doesn't work? What if this is all nonsense?" When those thoughts arise, do not engage with them. Simply return to the feeling. Remind yourself, it is already done. That feeling is the secret. It is the bridge between imagination and reality. When you fully embody the state of already having, external circumstances must align to make it so. The winning numbers, the right opportunity, the unexpected windfall, these are merely the channels through which your inner conviction manifests. They are not random. They are the inevitable outcome of your assumption. So stop waiting, stop hoping, step into the feeling of possession now, carry it with you, live from it, not toward it. And when you do, the world must obey. When you fixate on how something will manifest, you create a barrier between your desire and its realization. Your mind becomes entangled in the minutiae of planning and controlling the process, and in doing so it forgets the fundamental truth that the universe is far more powerful and intelligent than any human method or scheme. When you detach from the how, you allow the creative process to work its magic without interference. You open the door to a reality where outcomes are not determined by your limited understanding, but by an infinite source that operates in ways beyond your comprehension. By letting go of the need to control every step of the process, you free your mind from the confines of doubt and limitation. You no longer see the achievement of your desire as something that must be engineered through strict cause and effect, but as a natural unfolding of the potential already present within you. This state of surrender is not about giving up or resigning yourself to fate. Rather, it is about trusting that the mechanism which brings your desire into manifestation is already at work, aligning opportunities, people, and circumstances to create the outcome you envision. When you try to control how something will come to be, you inadvertently create resistance. This resistance is born from the belief that you must micromanage every aspect of your life to make your dreams a reality. But in doing so, you are asserting that the power to create your destiny lies solely in your hands. This mindset, while seemingly proactive, is actually a hindrance because it rejects the mysterious and transformative power of the subconscious. The universe has its own way of working, one that often defies conventional logic and linear thinking. When you interfere with that process by obsessing over the details, you disrupt the natural flow of manifestation. Imagine trying to force a river to flow in a specific pattern rather than allowing it to carve its own path. The river's journey is beautiful and powerful precisely because it follows the contours of the land. adapting to the terrain without resistance. Similarly, your desire to manifest wealth, success, or any other form of abundance will flow naturally if you relinquish the need to direct every step of its journey. The universe, or the deeper part of your own consciousness, is always working in your favor, arranging the elements in just the right way to bring your vision to life, even if the process seems mysterious or unpredictable to your logical mind. When you detach from the how, you embrace a state of effortless being. In this state, you focus solely on the end result, trusting that all the necessary details will be handled without your intervention. You no longer concern yourself with the logistics, the steps, or the timing, because you understand that these are mere instruments of a greater power that is always active in your life. This act of detachment is liberating. It allows you to move forward without the weight of expectation and the fear of failure. You begin to realize that the only thing that truly matters is the feeling of having achieved your desire, not the specific path taken to get there. Letting go of the how also cultivates an inner sense of peace and confidence. Instead of being caught in a cycle of worry and analysis, you become a receptive channel for inspiration and guidance. In this state, ideas flow freely and solutions present themselves in ways that you could never have devised on your own. It is a dynamic process where your trust in the unseen forces of creation transforms uncertainty into a wellspring of creativity. Ultimately, by releasing the need to control every detail, you empower yourself to experience the effortless unfolding of your dreams, making room for miracles that occur in the most unexpected and wondrous ways. Your subconscious mind is the key to everything you experience in life. It is the silent architect behind your reality, shaping your circumstances based on the beliefs, emotions, and assumptions you impress upon it. The most profound truth you must understand is that your subconscious does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. To it, all things are real the moment they are accepted as true. This is the foundation of all manifestation, and when you grasp it fully, you will understand why your thoughts and feelings are the true creators of your world. Most people live their lives reacting to what they see in the outer world, never realizing that the outer world is simply a reflection of their inner world. They look at their bank account, their job, their relationships, and assume that these things define their reality. But in truth, these are only the effects of past impressions that have been planted into the subconscious mind. If you want to change your life, you must stop focusing on the external and instead turn inward, deliberately planting new seeds of abundance, wealth, and success into your subconscious. The subconscious mind operates like fertile soil. It does not question what is planted in it. Whether you plant seeds of prosperity or seeds of lack, it will bring forth results in perfect accordance with what has been sown. If you constantly affirm that money is hard to come by, that success is out of reach, or that wealth is for others but not for you, your subconscious will accept those beliefs and make them your reality. On the other hand, if you impress upon it the certainty of your wealth, it will rearrange your life to reflect that truth. This is why imagination is so powerful. When you vividly imagine yourself as already being wealthy, already possessing all that you desire, your subconscious takes those impressions as facts. It does not argue, doubt, or rationalize. It simply accepts what you persistently tell it. If you persist in the feeling of already having wealth, the subconscious will work tirelessly to make it your experience. People, opportunities, and circumstances will shift in ways that seem almost magical, leading you to the fulfillment of your vision. The process of impressing the subconscious is simple, but it requires discipline. First, you must become deeply aware of the thoughts and beliefs you entertain on a daily basis. Are you constantly worrying about money? Are you affirming lack, even without realizing it? If so, you must replace those thoughts with new, empowering ones. Begin by speaking and thinking in alignment with the wealth you desire. Instead of saying, "I can't afford this," say, "Money flows to me easily and effortlessly." Instead of thinking, I will be rich someday, think, I am wealthy now. Your words and thoughts are the commands that program your subconscious mind. The most effective way to impress the subconscious is through the power of feeling. Thought alone is not enough. It must be accompanied by deep, genuine emotion. This is why simply repeating affirmations without truly feeling them will not create lasting change. You must generate the inner sensation of already having what you desire. How does it feel to be financially free? How does it feel to know that wealth is yours? Immerse yourself in that feeling as often as possible, especially before sleep, when your subconscious is most receptive. Many people unknowingly block their desires by allowing doubt and fear to creep in. They affirm wealth for a moment, but then immediately look for evidence in the outer world. If they don't see instant results, they revert to old patterns of doubt, undoing all their progress. The subconscious does not respond to fleeting thoughts. It responds to persistent belief. You must hold on to your assumption of wealth with unwavering confidence, knowing that what you have impressed upon your subconscious must materialize. Once you have successfully implanted the feeling of wealth into your subconscious, the outer world will begin to change. It may not happen overnight, but it will happen with absolute certainty. New opportunities will arise, unexpected sources of income will appear, and circumstances will shift in ways you never could have predicted. This is not coincidence. It is the law at work. The secret to a life of abundance is simple. Impress upon your subconscious the certainty of your wealth, and it will reflect that truth back to you. Do not concern yourself with how or when it will happen. Your only task is to remain faithful to the vision and the feeling of already having it. When you master this, your financial reality will transform effortlessly, as if by divine orchestration. Silence is the most powerful language of manifestation, for it is in stillness that creation takes place. Most people believe they must speak constantly about their desires, affirming them out loud, discussing them with others, or rationalizing how they will come to pass. Yet, the more you talk, analyze, and question, the more you delay the manifestation of your desires. True creation happens in the quiet acceptance of the wish fulfilled, not in the endless verbalization of hope or doubt. Every time you speak of lack, you reinforce it. Every time you say, I don't have enough money, I am struggling, or things never work out for me, you are sending a command to your subconscious mind, instructing it to maintain that very condition. Your words are an affirmation of your reality, and whether you realize it or not, every word spoken is a seed planted in the fertile soil of the unseen. When you constantly discuss your problems, you are unknowingly watering the weeds instead of nurturing the garden of your desires. The more you talk about what is missing, the more you cement its presence in your life. Silence, on the other hand, is a demonstration of faith. It is the quiet knowing that what you have imagined is already yours. It is the absence of questioning, the end of searching for signs, and the complete detachment from needing to convince yourself or others. When you remain silent, you signal to the universe and to yourself that there is nothing to debate. The moment you stop justifying your desires, stop seeking external validation, and stop explaining why you deserve something, you allow the unseen forces of creation to move freely and effortlessly on your behalf. Doubt and impatience are often disguised in speech. When you speak too much about what you desire, you are not affirming your belief in its reality, you are reaffirming your uncertainty. The one who truly knows does not need to convince anyone, not even themselves. The sun does not need to announce its rising, and a tree does not need to explain how it grows. It simply does. Likewise, your desire does not require effortful proclamation. It only requires a quiet, unwavering assumption of its existence. Stop trying to make it happen. The very act of trying implies struggle. If you try to manifest something, you are, in essence, declaring that you do not have it. Effort and struggle belong to the realm of the physical, but true creation happens in the unseen. It is an effortless process that unfolds naturally when you allow it. Just as a seed does not strain to grow into a tree, your desire does not require force to materialize. It only needs to be accepted as real within, and then it will take form without. This is the reason why many struggle with manifestation. They work hard, they affirm repeatedly, they look for signs, and yet nothing changes. This is because their very effort contradicts the law itself. The one who understands the nature of creation does not work for it. They rest in the feeling of its inevitability, knowing that it is already done. They do not speak about it. They do not ask when or how it will happen. They simply live as though it is already theirs. The greatest manifestations happen in silence. They come not from noise, not from endless affirmations, and not from desperate action, but from the quiet conviction that what is desired already exists. When you master this silence, this effortless acceptance, you will no longer chase after your dreams. Instead, they will come to you, naturally and effortlessly, as though they were always meant to be. There is an undeniable power in simply listening, absorbing, and letting go. In a world that teaches you to chase, strive, and struggle, this truth may seem too simple. Yet it is the very key to effortless manifestation. The moment you stop trying, stop forcing, and stop attempting to control the outcome, you open the door for what you desire to come to you effortlessly. Many believe they must constantly affirm, visualize, and repeat their desires over and over to bring them into reality. While these practices have their place, they are not what creates the manifestation. The true power lies in the state of knowing, the deep, quiet confidence that what you desire is already yours. And this state can only be accessed when you let go of effort. Listening is the first step. When you listen, you quiet the mind, allowing new ideas, beliefs, and possibilities to take root. If your mind is constantly filled with doubts, worries, and repetitive thoughts of lack, there is no room for the new reality to enter. But when you listen, truly listen, you open yourself to the truth that wealth, abundance, and success are already within you. You stop resisting and allow the knowledge of your abundance to settle into your consciousness. As you listen, absorb the feeling. The feeling is what makes it real. If someone were to tell you that you had already won the lottery and you truly believed them, how would you feel? Would you feel relieved, excited, or at peace? That feeling is the very bridge between where you are now and where you desire to be. It is the key that unlocks the manifestation. The problem most people face is that they are constantly thinking about their desire rather than living in the feeling of having it. They imagine what it would be like, but then immediately return to their current state of lack. To manifest effortlessly, you must absorb the feeling so completely that it becomes your natural state. Once you have listened and absorbed, the final step is to let go. Let go of needing to see proof. Let go of searching for signs. Let go of wondering when it will happen. The moment you release your grip on the outcome, wealth has no choice but to reveal itself to you. This is because you are no longer blocking it with resistance. When you try too hard, you are operating from a place of lack, subconsciously affirming that you do not yet have what you desire. But when you let go, you shift into a state of trust, allowing the universe to rearrange itself in perfect alignment with your assumption. This is why some people seem to attract money, success, and opportunities without effort. It is not because they are lucky or because they work harder than everyone else. It is because they do not resist. They have already accepted their wealth as reality even before they see it physically. They do not chase it because they do not believe it is separate from them. It is simply a part of who they are. The paradox of manifestation is that the more you try, the more it eludes you. The more you chase, the further it moves away. But the moment you stop running, stop grasping, and simply allow, it flows to you naturally. This is not passivity, it is mastery. It is the understanding that reality conforms to your state of being, and the only work required is to become the person who already has what they desire. To just listen, absorb the truth of your infinite abundance, let go of effort, and watch as wealth reveals itself to you in ways you never could have planned. In the end, manifestation is not about effort, struggle, or chasing after what you desire. It is about understanding that reality is shaped by your inner state. The moment you accept wealth as already yours, without doubt or resistance, it has no choice but to appear in your life. You do not need to figure out how it will happen, nor do you need to force it. Your only task is to listen, absorb, feel, and let go. Silence your doubts, stop speaking of lack, and rest in the certainty that what you have imagined is already unfolding. Trust in the unseen, and wealth will flow to you naturally, effortlessly, and in ways beyond your comprehension. The universe does not respond to effort, it responds to certainty. When you stop trying and simply know, the reality you seek will become undeniable. Thank you for listening, and may you step into the wealth and abundance that has always been yours. There is a place within you untouched by worry, unbothered by time, and unaffected by appearances. It is in this stillness, this sacred pause between thoughts, that the secret lies. The jackpot you have been chasing, whether it be wealth, love, peace, or purpose, has never been out there. It has always been waiting behind the curtain of your own stillness. Stillness is not laziness. It is not indifference. It is the quiet knowing that all things are already yours. When you become still, you stop reaching, and in stopping, you start receiving. The world will tell you to hustle, to grind, to chase. But listen closely. Anything you chase runs from you. Stillness, however, draws things near. Why? Because in your stillness, you're not trying to get. You are being. You are embodying the version of you who already has it. When you rest inwardly, as though the desire were fulfilled, you shift timelines. You assume the state of the one who has already won. You don't wait for the world to change, you change your inner position. The moment you accept it within, it must reflect without. You are not required to convince anyone, you are not required to prove anything, you are only required to feel deeply and quietly that it is done. Stillness is the soil in which manifestation grows. The more still you become, the more powerful your assumption becomes. You do not fight against reality. You no longer cry out for help. Instead, you whisper within yourself, I have it, I am it, it is done. And in that silence, mountains move. The jackpot is not hidden from you. It is hidden for you. In the one place most refuse to go, inward. Stop looking for signs. Stop demanding proof. Instead, go still, go silent. Close the eyes of flesh and open the eyes of faith. When you are still, you know. And when you know, you no longer wait, you rest. You rest in the unseen reality, knowing the seen must follow. So I ask you now not to try harder, but to be still. Let the noise of the world pass by you like wind. You are the calm center. You are the eye of the storm. And in that calm, the jackpot you've been waiting for quietly walks in. True desire is not achieved through effort. It is received through stillness. In stillness, you dissolve the illusion of lack. And it is an illusion, for nothing is ever truly missing from your life, except the awareness of what already exists within you. The world teaches you to hustle, to run after your dreams, to work harder, longer, faster. But let me tell you something eternal. What is truly yours will never come from strain. It will come from your alignment. And alignment is born in stillness. Stillness is not inactivity, it is inner agreement. It is the sacred space where you stop struggling against life and start flowing with it. When you become still, your attention leaves the noise of the senses and settles into the quiet truth. You already are the one you wish to become. What you seek is not on the outside. The wealth you desire, the love you crave, the peace you long for, they are not hiding in the next opportunity, the next relationship, or the next promotion. They are hiding behind the veil of your busy mind. And stillness is the key that lifts that veil. In stillness, you see clearly. You remember who you are. You return to the place where there is no urgency, no fear, and no separation from your desire. Because the truth is, your desire is not outside of you. It is already fulfilled in the unseen. But until you stop and become still, you cannot perceive it. This is why many never receive what they want. They try too hard. They force, they beg, they plead, and all of it affirms the same thing. I don't have it. But stillness says something else. It says, I do. It says, I am. It says, it is done. And so, stillness becomes your prayer, your portal, your place of power. When you are still, you are no longer acting from the state of wanting, but from the state of having. And it is this subtle shift that changes everything. No one hears the cry of desperation as clearly as the universe hears the quiet of knowing. Stillness is not just rest. It is command. It is declaration. It is creation. You were never meant to exhaust yourself chasing shadows. You were meant to stand still and let the substance of things hoped for rise through you. What if you stopped? What if you sat quietly and dared to feel that it is already yours? What if you trusted that stillness works faster than striving ever could? That is the secret. The door you're trying to force open has been waiting for your stillness, not your strength. So rest, not because you're giving up, but because you've already won. Be still, not because you're afraid to act, but because you've already become. Fulfillment does not rush, it arrives silently, like a whisper in the dark, to those who are still enough to hear it. And when it comes, you will not be surprised, for you will have already lived it in the silence of your heart. Your silent inner world is where the creative act happens. You don't force reality, you impress it with feeling, and it yields. The mind, when still, becomes a canvas upon which your imagination paints the life you truly desire. And the brush is not thought, it is feeling. It is not noise, it is awareness. It is not effort, but assumption. Imagination is not a tool of fantasy, it is the workshop of creation. Every condition, every experience, every shift in your external life is first born within, quietly and invisibly. Before the money comes, before the relationship manifests, before the opportunity arrives, something stirs in the silence of your being. A vision, a scene, a feeling, and the more silently you hold that vision, the more deeply you impress it upon the invisible substance that shapes all things. You see, noise scatters energy, but silence gathers it. The louder the world gets, the more precious your inner silence becomes. For it is in that silence that you speak the loudest to the universe. Not with words, but with conviction. Not with begging, but with knowing. This is why people who learn to be still, to go within and imagine with feeling, seem to live lives that others call lucky or miraculous. It is not luck, it is law. They are not working harder. They are working from the silence. In silence, the mind is uncluttered. The noise of doubt fades. The resistance weakens. And in its place, a clear image can take form. You no longer try to make things happen. You allow them to unfold because they already exist in your imagination. Here's the truth. The outer world responds to the inner blueprint. And that blueprint is shaped in your quiet moments, not when you are anxious, not when you are asking how it will happen, but when you rest in the feeling that it already has. Your imagination is not bound by the present moment. It is not restricted by facts or appearances. It is the place where you rewrite what the senses report. And when you enter it in silence, when you shut the door and commune with your unseen vision, you become the master of your fate. You don't force reality to change, you assume it has changed. You don't demand answers, you become the answer. You feel yourself into the new condition, and the world cannot help but yield. So take time every day to return to the silence, to close your eyes, breathe, and imagine, not as a dreamer, but as a creator. Let the scene unfold, not through logic, but through love. See it, feel it, and then release it, knowing that silence has already done the work. For the loudest shift in your life will not begin with a scream or a sign, but with a whisper in the dark, a whisper that says it is done. And in that sacred silence, everything changes. This is how imagination fulfills itself, not through force, but through faithful silence. Everything begins with a state of being. You are not waiting for life to change so you can feel different. You feel different so life can change. This is the reversal of the world's logic. While most people believe seeing is believing, the truth is believing is seeing. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you're not pretending. You're not playing make-believe. You are aligning yourself with the deeper reality that exists beyond time. You are entering into the state where your desire is already real, already alive, already yours. And the key is rest. You do not force yourself into the state, you rest in it. You surrender to it like you surrender to sleep, not with tension, but with trust. Just as you close your eyes at night and drift naturally into dreams, you enter the feeling of the fulfilled desire with ease, allowing it to wash over you until it feels like home, because that's exactly what it is, home. The state of your desire is not somewhere out there, waiting for you to earn it. It already exists within consciousness. And the moment you rest in that state, you become one with it. You are not trying to get rich. You are resting in the state of wealth. You are not seeking love. You are resting in the state of being deeply loved. You are not chasing healing. You are resting in the state of wholeness, and from that place your world begins to shift. Not because you made it happen, but because you became it. You don't have to move a finger in the outer world until you've moved your inner world. When you rest in the fulfilled desire, the thoughts, actions, and circumstances that match that state will unfold automatically. Life rearranges itself to reflect the state you dwell in. It is not about repetition, it is about saturation. The more deeply you rest in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the more natural it becomes, until it's no longer something you're trying to feel, it's simply who you are. And when it becomes who you are, you won't need to ask, where is it? Because you will know it is done. This is why resting in the state is not laziness. It is the highest form of alignment. You are no longer trying to create from separation. You are creating from unity. You are one with your desire. And therefore, it must come forth. So find that place within yourself where the desire is already true. Enter that room and close the door behind you. Let your imagination build the scene, but let your heart feel the truth of it. Rest in it, live in it, be in it, and the world without fail will mirror it. Because life does not give you what you want, it gives you what you are. And when you become the state, the jackpot no longer needs to be chased. It arrives because you've already claimed it. We have been conditioned to believe that everything worth having must be earned through strain, that every goal must be pursued with relentless action. But what if the very chase is the reason you haven't received what you seek? What if the more you push, the more you confirm to life that you are without? You see, the outer world is only a mirror. It reflects your dominant inner state. Trying to manipulate the mirror changes nothing. You must change the image within. That image, that feeling, that assumption, it's formed in the quiet chambers of your soul, not in the chaos of motion. Effort, when it comes from a place of fear, doubt, or lack, becomes resistance. It signals to the universe, I don't have this yet, so I must fight for it. But the truth is, the more you fixate on the outer world, the more you anchor yourself in what is, rather than what can be. Let go of the outer, not in apathy, but in awareness. The outer is temporary. It is reactive. It is always one step behind your inner world. Clinging to it is like trying to rearrange smoke. It shifts, but it never solidifies. Instead, live in the inner. In the world within, you hold the pen. You are not at the mercy of conditions. You are the author of them. It is here that you can revise, select, assume, and rest. It is here that you find peace, not because life is perfect, but because you are dwelling in the end where all is already well. The unseen forces that move the stars, that birth miracles, that align people and places perfectly in your path, they do not respond to effort. They respond to alignment. And alignment is silent. It is still. It is trusting. When you live in the inner, you are no longer chasing, you are magnetizing. You are no longer reacting, you are creating. Your life becomes an unfolding, not a struggle. You no longer run from the storm. You realize you were the calm all along. This is the power of the one who withdraws attention from what seems to be and places it firmly on what will be. Not with force, but with quiet confidence. Let go of the need to explain yourself. Let go of the urge to prove your worth. Let go of the obsession with outcomes. Instead, go within. See yourself already there. Feel it real. Dwell in the scene. Let the world do what it must. You've already crossed the finish line inwardly. And that is the only place it matters. Because the moment you align with the inner reality, the outer must conform. It has no choice. It is law. So pause the struggle. Step back from the noise. Close your eyes, not in blindness, but in vision, and live inwardly as though all you desire is already here. The world teaches you to speak your desires aloud, to declare them in front of others, to prove your worthiness through words and action. But the universe does not respond to volume, it responds to vibration. It hears the silent certainty of your inner world far more clearly than any spoken affirmation that lacks belief. True power does not shout, it whispers. In silence, you broadcast the most powerful signal of all, faith. When you fall into stillness, not out of defeat, but out of confidence, you are saying to the universe, it is done. I have no need to struggle. I am aligned with the outcome. That stillness becomes your statement, your proof, your evidence of belief. Because begging is born of lack. Pleading affirms that you are separate from your desire. But silence, silence is the sound of oneness. It says, I already have what I asked for. It communicates with the highest forces of life, not through desperation, but through embodiment. Think of the seed planted in the soil. It does not scream to grow. It does not rush or panic. It simply rests, trusting that the unseen laws of nature are at work. In the same way, when you plant your assumption within the silence of your being, you need not dig it up with doubt or demand. You rest and let the law unfold it. Your inner silence is not passive. It is electric, charged with the emotion of already having. It does not sit idle. It creates. It pulls together people, events, and situations with quiet magnetic force. And the more you trust in that silence, the faster reality aligns. You do not need to explain yourself to the world. You do not need to justify your dream or convince others to agree with your vision. That is outer noise. The moment you retreat from that and move inward into the quiet chamber where only you and your assumption exist, you become the commander of reality. And what is the assumption? It is the feeling that your desire is already fulfilled. When you assume it inwardly and remain still in that knowing, the universe has no choice but to echo it outwardly. There is no force stronger than a quiet mind that knows. There is no ritual more powerful than silently embodying the result. No movement is needed, no words must be spoken. Just the still awareness that what you imagined is already yours. And so you walk differently, you speak less, you act from calm. Because within it is finished, within the decision has been made. You are no longer trying to make it happen. You are simply allowing it to unfold because your silence already gave the command. This is not arrogance. This is spiritual confidence. So the next time doubt rises, return to the silence. The next time fear whispers, turn away and rest inwardly in the state of already having. Because silence is what no word ever could. You are not attracting the jackpot. You are reflecting it. Life mirrors not what you desire, but who you are in your deeper state of being. And when your inner world is still, when it is uncluttered by fear, untouched by desperation, and free from mental noise, you become a clear mirror through which the fullness of life can shine. The jackpot isn't a number on a check. It isn't a house, a person, or a destination. It is a condition of consciousness. It is the feeling of total abundance, unshakable confidence, and inner certainty that you are already complete. And that condition, once assumed within, must be reflected without. But it begins with stillness. The mind that is always in motion, always asking, always doubting, always reacting, cannot hear the instructions of the deeper self. It cannot hold the image of fulfillment long enough to impress it on reality. It is like water that is constantly disturbed, unable to reflect anything clearly. Stillness is the discipline of the powerful. Not the stillness of doing nothing, but the stillness of believing everything has already been done. You quiet the chatter, not to escape life, but to align with the higher law that governs it. In stillness, you feel the wealth before the money comes. In stillness, you know the love before the partner appears. In stillness, you sense the victory before the world calls it yours, because the still mind is already living in the end. It is no longer grasping. It is no longer searching. It is resting in the knowing, I have received. This is why some people, seemingly without effort, experience overflow, opportunities, wealth, love, all flowing to them with ease. They have trained the mind to dwell in stillness, not in panic. They have surrendered the noise of how and have focused entirely on the I am. The jackpot, in its many forms, is not achieved by frantic action. It is received by calm certainty. It comes not to those who chase it, but to those who already carry its feelings silently within. And this is where most miss the mark. They chase results rather than tending to their state. But when you shift your inner state, the jackpot has no choice but to appear, because it is only a reflection of you. So still your mind, settle your breath, quiet your doubts, and just hold the feeling of having. Don't rush it, don't question it, just become still, become open, become receptive. Because the disciplined mind that knows, that sees without eyes, that trusts without needing proof, that mind becomes the magnet for all things. The jackpot is not outside of you, it is a mirror held up to your own being. And when your being is still, when it is clear, when it is confident, in the unseen, then, like the calm surface of a lake reflecting the stars above, your outer world will mirror that inner richness perfectly, faithfully, abundantly. And so, beloved listener, the message is simple but profound. Everything you seek is already yours, if only you would be still enough to receive it. You have been taught to chase, to struggle, to prove your worth to the world. But now you know the real power lies not in movement, but in inner stillness. In stillness you become. In stillness you receive. In stillness you command life without ever raising your voice. The jackpot, whether it's money, peace, love, or freedom, does not come to those who panic or plead. It comes to those who rest in the knowing that it is already done. Your silence is not empty. It is full of intention, full of creation, full of truth. So return to your inner world, close your eyes to appearances, still the noise, and there in that sacred quiet, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Not tomorrow, now, because when you become the state inwardly, reality has no choice but to obey. The jackpot is not coming. It's already here. You just need to be still enough to see it. Thank you for listening, and remember, stillness is not the absence of movement. It is the presence of power.